This metal contraption might be one of the strangest pieces of gear that we mandolin players love to talk about. And at first it might seem a little crazy to attach this thing to your beloved 8-string instrument, but the longer you hang around the mandolin community, the more you start to see how some of the best players in the business actually use one of these things. Why, you may ask? Well, the premise is simple. Once you slide one of these onto the back of your mandolin, it's intended to create a space between you and the wood of the instrument to protect it from any damping that might occur from contact with your clothes, which is supposed to allow the mandolin to resonate more fully, resulting in greater volume, sustain, and tone. Hence the name, Tone-Gard. Simple enough, right? Yet there are still a lot of skeptics out there, and even some folks who claim to not like the way that the Tone-Gard sounds. And if I'm totally honest, I've actually used one for many years now, and I've really enjoyed it, but I'm not entirely sure if it's not just a placebo because I've never done any measured comparison. So today, I want to empirically find out if this thing really makes a positive change and if it warrants the $75 price tag. So in this sponsor-free video, I'll be doing a series of comparison tests with and without the Tone-Gard to see what that difference really is. And I've got the perfect scenario for this experiment. If you follow the channel here, you've probably seen this brand new dream mandolin that I got a couple months ago. It's a custom classic LS Apitius F5, and it sounds amazing on its own, but I've actually never tried it with a Tone-Gard before, and I'm really excited to hear what difference one of those will make on this incredible instrument. All right, we are all set up now. And to make this comparison as scientific as possible, I have a couple different mic configurations. First, we have this Neumann KM184 pair pointed directly at the mandolin for more of a listener's perspective. But I also have this Peluso P414 mic overhead that will hopefully give us more of a player's point of view too. And I'll be recording with flat EQ as I play through some identical examples with and without the Tone-Gard. Wish me luck. All right, that was interesting. Oh my goodness. Putting on that Tone-Gard for the first time felt really good. Let's see what it sounds like. It definitely felt different with it on, but we'll get into some of my own personal thoughts and experiences later on in the video. First, I want to listen back to these examples and see if it's all just in my head or if there really is a noticeable difference in the sound. And this is my first time listening back, so we'll find out together. Headphones recommended. So the first test I did was a simple sustain test where I played through all 4 sets of open strings back to back and let them ring out for as long as possible. Here it is without the Tone-Gard first. Not too bad, right? Let's see what it sounds like with the Tone-Gard now. Interesting. You can definitely tell there's a little bit more volume and maybe a bit more overtones with the Tone-Gard on, but it wasn't as noticeable as I thought it would be. That's with all the mics together, the overhead and the XY pair in the front. Let's listen to the stereo pair by itself and see if there's any difference. Almost indistinguishable, isn't it? That's weird. Now let's just listen to the overhead mic solo and see if there's any difference there. So without the Tone-Gard. And then with the Tone-Gard. Here we go. Curious. Definitely not super noticeable, but maybe a little bit more than the XY pair out front. So maybe it's more of a player's perspective thing than a listener's perspective. But we have a few more tests to go through. Next, let's check out some strumming on some open chords to see what it sounds like. First up, without the Tone-Gard. Now with the Tone-Gard. Maybe a little more in the mid-range, right? I think I can hear maybe a tiny bit of a muffling sound without the Tone-Gard, and with the Tone-Gard, there's a bit more brighter resonance in the mids. All right, we have to do the obligatory chop chord test now. Check out the chops without the Tone-Gard first. Now with the Tone-Gard. I can't tell a difference at all. Oh man, that is funny. I guess with the muted chop, it makes sense that it wouldn't make a huge difference with the Tone-Gard on, but I could swear that it felt different playing it with the Tone-Gard on. All right, let's see if double stops and tremolo have any say in the matter. First, without the Tone-Gard. Okay, that actually was a little bit more noticeable to my ears. What do you think? Yeah, there's a little bit more depth to the notes, I think, with the Tone-Gard than without the Tone-Gard. Still pretty slight, but let's give it one more shot here with a traditional melody, the good old Blackberry Blossom. Here it is without the Tone-Gard first. Interesting. Wow. I could tell maybe a little bit of difference on the notes that happened on the A string here. You know, it sounded maybe a little bit more muffled like this without the Tone-Gard, but then more clear and more focused with the Tone-Gard on, but very marginal at best. Wow. This has been kind of an eye-opening experience. You can probably tell from the earlier footage when I first put on the Tone-Gard, it was kind of like a revelation. It felt so different and so good and inspiring. But listening back, I honestly can't tell a huge difference. And that's a little humbling. Man, that it's really hard to go back to that now. Maybe it is more of a placebo, but I will say that it did feel different. And I think I played better with it on. And if you can make yourself enjoy playing the mandolin a little bit more, get a little bit more sound, a little bit more resonance coming out of your instrument from a player's perspective, from that overhead view, I think it's probably worth it. Another thing that I like about the Tone-Gard that doesn't come across in a video is the way that this thing feels. And it may be a little bit weird getting used to a metal cage rubbing up against you at first, but once you do get used to it, I think it's hard to go back because this thing actually adds a little bit more weight to the body of the instrument. And the mandolin is so headstock heavy, you have to hold up the neck with your left hand, especially when you're standing up with a strap. But having a little bit more weight over here helps even things out and makes it more comfortable to play. But the real question is, what do you think after listening to all these examples? Are you Camp Tone-Gard or Camp No-Gard? Be sure to let me know in the comments below, and while you're down there, why don't you leave a like and subscribe to the channel here. And you can even join over on Patreon at the link below if you want to support what we do here and see more videos like this in the future. Loads more coming your way real soon, and in the meantime, happy picking.